Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Good morning. A very warm welcome to one and all. I am Hardika Veera, Chief Clinical Dietitian and Head of Kidney Vertical at Coutinho Holistic Healing Systems. Today we are going to talk about what does your urine say about your health. So it's a very interesting topic if we look at it. Why would I say that? We all have heard about the fact wherein your body tells us about how are you doing. It gives you signs and symptoms, right from your hair health to your skin health to your nail health, or in terms of how are you actually feeling, right? This holds true even for your urine. Okay. So basically when we are talking about urine, what are the things that we would want to look at? Okay, so there are three things that we generally look at urine. That is the color, consistency and odor. Okay, now as we all know, what is urine made up of? Urine, definitely water. Then there are electrolytes and there are also toxic materials that needs to be flushed off from the system with the help of the kidneys, right? So when you're talking about urine, I am not too sure how many of us really have the habit to peep through, or many of us when we use a lot of common washrooms as such, you must have noticed a particular chart out there, which shows you about the color of the urine, and in case you fall into a particular color grade, that means you have to drink more water or you are well hydrated, etc., etc., right? But how many of us actually peek through before flushing? So this is something which is extremely important. I would say, ensure that you do peek through on a timely manner to check whether you are healthy or there's some issue going on with us, because your urine is also going to tell you a lot about your health. So without further ado, let us move on to what does the color of your urine talk or say about your health. Okay. So first and foremost, when we talk about the normal urine, it would be somewhere around pale yellow to say medium yellow, gold yellow kind of a color. Okay, now this color is because of the pigment urochrome present in it, okay, which gives the urine its color, the yellow color. Now there are times wherein the color might be transparent, it's pure white like water, pure transparent, there's no color at all. What does that indicate? Do you think it is good enough, that means you're well hydrated? I would say no, that's not the case. You have to ensure that you are drinking enough water, that this pale yellow or light yellow color which is still seen, because if it is transparent, it indicates that you are over hydrating. It's because of so much of water intake that you also have to go ahead and have frequent urine visits, which would end up you losing out on a lot of electrolytes as well. Because when you talk about urine is just not plain water and toxins, right? It also contains a lot of electrolytes, which when lost in excess would also cause issues to us. Okay, so this is one thing which we have to be careful about. There are some people who come back to us saying, you know what, I don't really drink so much of water, my water intake is controlled, but still I see that I have to go to washroom multiple times, and at the same time the color of my urine is transparent. What does that indicate? So I would say in that case, please go ahead, get yourself checked further for diabetes. There are high chances that you may have diabetes or some other kidney issues as such as well. So it's better to get further diagnosed. Okay. So now coming back to different colors as such. What if it is say around amber colored urine? That means there's mild dehydration. Go ahead, have some water and you should be okay by the next trip. Many a times you would notice there's cloudy or there's green colored urine as well. So that indicates that there's some kind of UTI that's going on. So you better get yourself checked, observe a couple of times and see if it still persists, then you may want to go ahead and get further diagnosis done. In case of pink or red tinted urine as such, now there are two reasons because of which you could have red tinted. One, because of the blood that you're losing out. Now that could further further say that you might be having any kind of infection, say bladder infection, some kidney issues, there's kidney stones present in it, or there could also be prostate issues. Okay, so see what is it that you have been noticing. Many a times these changes in terms of color, I would say, for example, dark brown urine, it could also be because of some issues with your liver. Okay, so be very, very vigilant in terms of if it is real dark brown colored. There could be tea or cola colored urine as well many a times. So that would indicate inflammation of the kidneys. It could be because of the glomerulonephritis as such. Okay, so be careful about all these things. Now when we talk about our food intake, when we talk about certain medications that a person might be on, say for example certain multivitamins which has that outer color like that, many of the food products that we eat which has dye in it, certain food dyes, if consumed in excess, would also change the color of your urine. Just to give you an example, for example, if you have been you are used to having a lot of beetroot, okay, through the day, so maybe you have had, say, maybe a glass of beetroot juice, and you have also included beetroot in your meals. Over and above that, there is a chance that your urine might be slightly pink in color because of the pigment of the beetroot as such. Okay, and similar is the case with regards to when you have, say for example, blackberries in a larger quantity, then also your urine may be a little dark in color. Okay, so you need not really worry about it. Certain supplements, as I told you, or food dyes might also change the color. So these changes, what I'm talking about currently, is temporary changes, okay, which would go off as soon as you are off that particular food. If you have doubt, go ahead, remove that particular food from your meal for a couple of days and see how well is it changing the color of your urine. Okay, so that will give you a better idea whether is it really there's blood present in my urine, or is it because of the food that I have been having, right? Which will give you a clear bifurcation about that. And in case it is required, you could go ahead and get the further diagnosis done. Now this is with regards to the color. Now coming to the consistency. Okay, so when we talk about consistency, ideally it should be plain, right? Many a times you would notice that there's some sedimentation which has been noticed in the urine, some grainy like substance as well. It could be because of a lot of stones or some other kind of big sedimentation which is present in the urine, which is getting flushed off. Your kidney is not able to stop that from coming out. Ideally it shouldn't be. Many a times the froth, or if I'm talking about, say, foamy urine, it could be because of the proteins present or proteins leaking into the urine, which ideally shouldn't be the case. So observe all these things. When you talk about frothy urine, right, it could also be if the speed of urination is very, very fast. Okay, this happens in certain cases. So observe all of these things. If there's frothy urine one odd time, that doesn't really mean that there's a lot of protein leaking into your urine by default. Okay, so don't get into that panicky mode, but I would just say, observe. See how is that like the next time as well. Is it the same even the next day, or was it a pattern only of that particular day? There's a possibility that you haven't really hydrated yourself well, and that is why you are seeing a lot of changes as well. You are facing these issues in terms of difficulty in terms of urine, or pain or burning sensation as well. But in case you have been hydrating yourself well, and in spite of that you are facing issues with regards to burning sensation or say pain while urinating, that definitely means that you might have UTI, and you may want to get it checked further. So that's another thing which we would want to look at. Coming to the odor. Now odor per se, urine doesn't have a very strong odor unless and until there are certain antibiotics, there are certain multivitamins, or there are certain food products that you have had which has its typical odor. And when I'm talking about food products, again, if you have had it in way larger amounts, okay, only then you would notice this issue, that there's some kind of change in terms of the urine odor as such. Okay, as in how a person ages, and with a lot of medications also getting included into their daily regime, there is a chance that there would be a little amount of odor which is due to those medications that you would notice in the urine. But apart from that, okay, now consider a normal person for that matter. In case you start seeing certain changes in terms of the odor, which is not temporary for a day or two, but it stays for some time, then you definitely need to go and visit your doctor once. Okay, now if, say for example, your urine smells of has a fruity odor overall, there is a higher chance that it is because of the ketones present in your urine, that is because of the diabetes as well. So you'd want to be a little careful about it. Now consider if say it smells of certain ammonia, if you have had a lot of asparagus, sulfur containing foods and all of those, and there's a lot of ammonia which is present in your urine, then also you would notice the changes in terms of the smell of the urine. Now in case of say the consistency being okay, there's no issue with it, but still you notice that sometimes there are these white threads, there are certain discharges and everything which you notice, but it is smelly, then in that case it indicates that you do have UTI. Okay, or you may have some bladder infection, you may have some liver infection. Okay, so be a little careful in terms of all of these changes that you might notice. Go ahead, visit your doctor. If these changes persist and it doesn't change in spite of you stopping the particular food or that particular supplement or medication that you might be having, and you have a doubt that this might be causing it, right? Or talk to your doctor in terms of, I'm having this symptom and at the same time I'm having these supplements or medication, do you think this could lead to it? Try and get it sorted at the right time. We don't want it to be prolonged as is. So these are very important aspects for us to check. Now this is with regards to when you physically look at your urine and you understand all these things, right? But apart from that, also your urine tells a lot about your health when it undergoes further investigation. Okay, what are those? So as simple as the presence of sugar or say ketone bodies into your urine. When you do the urine routine test, you would notice that it is high in case of uncontrolled diabetes. So it tells you that your blood sugar levels are not really controlled. Okay. Secondly, when we look at the presence of bacteria, presence of pus cells, epithelial cells, it shows you the presence of blood in your urine, the presence of protein in your urine. That definitely shows that, you know, maybe there's some kind of infection or your kidneys are not really functioning well. Okay, but that's not it. I'm sure a lot of ladies would relate to this, but even with regards to when you get to understand that you are pregnant, the first thing that you do is the urine pregnancy test, right? So your urine also tells you about you being pregnant, which is one of the good things. So urine doesn't only tell you about all the bad things that's going wrong with you, but it also gives you a lot of positivity or gives you good news as well. So that is it with regards to urine. I am up for any question and answers. I see a couple of questions mentioned out here, so I am quickly going to go through it. Sunita has mentioned, I'm 50 plus, I am taking only 1 liter water. Is it okay because I do not need more than that? So when you talk about is this okay, I would say go ahead, look at the color of your urine and you decide how much is it, because I'm not too sure if you're taking any other kind of medication, if you have any other issues which demands you to go ahead and have restriction in terms of your water intake. If not, I would say please go ahead, have at least 1.5 to 2 liters of water, because that's something which is very, very important for us. Okay. So Rachel Lado has mentioned, I have diabetes, my urine is cloudy at times. Is this normal? So when you talk about diabetes, it could be, as I told you, your cloudy urine could be because of a lot of sugar sedimentation present in your urine, and there could be a lot of ketone bodies and other issues as well. You have a higher chance of getting UTIs as well, because if your blood sugar levels is in uncontrolled state, right? So please go ahead, get your urine checked further, or I would suggest you to check your blood sugar levels on a timely manner to understand how well your blood sugar levels are controlled, which will give you a better idea. In case you do feel any kind of issues with regards to, say, burning sensation, pain while urinating, the frequency of urination is much higher, but the quantity per se is not too much, then you may want to get it checked for UTI as well. There's another question which says, is 2 to 3 pus cells can be considered normal? In many cases, there are certain ranges which is given in between, say, 0 to 5 and all of that. So if you're falling in that particular range of the pus cells, epithelial cells and all, it is considered to be okay. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so I think this is it with regards to question. I don't see any more questions in the chat box out here. So I would like to conclude saying that, it's very important to be very conscious about your hydration, your food, as well as your urine. Don't really neglect it, saying it's just the toxic element which is coming out of your body, because yes, you are losing out on your water, you are losing out on your electrolytes as well, which are very integral part of our body, and which is required for doing a lot of functions in our body, right? When there are a lot of losses through urine, there are higher chances that the blood levels of those electrolytes falls, and thereby affecting a lot of other bodily functions. So hence, be a little careful about your urine as well, your color, consistency and odor. These are the 3 things that you would want to look at on a timely manner. And I really hope this session helps you to understand what really happens and when you need to seek expert advice, so that you are taking care of your health. If it is just a matter of your urine color being slightly darker, please go ahead, have more water, and you should be sorted as such. Okay, but if there are more changes that you have been noticing with regards to what I just mentioned, please ensure that you are taking right advice at the right time and preventing yourself from further degrading your health or getting into severe issues. Thank you so much. I hope this really helped you all.